The glass doors of Caldwell Tower flashed the city back at them like a question. A woman in a plain coat, a 10-year-old with neat cornrows, and a face so familiar it stopped the lobby's breath. They walked across marble as if they belonged there. And for the first time in 11 years, the world that had turned its back on them would have to look. Nia Brooks tightened Zuri's hand and kept her chin high. Zuri studied the polished floor, then the people staring. The elevator side open. Ethan Caldwell stepped out, youngest CEO on every cover, crisp suit, the kind of smile trained for press shots. He looked exactly like the child at Nia's side. Time hiccuped. Ethan's phone hit the marble and skittered away. His composure bled out in slow, stunned seconds. Zuri,
I know the truth
coached
about Zuri.
and confident, bowed with a
She
sweetness
is your
that cut
daughter.
deeper than any accusation.
Nia, what are you
Hello,
saying?
Father. My name is Zuri.
Is this
I'm
my
10.
daughter?
The lobby hummed into phone cameras. Ethan's face moved from shock to denial to something thinner. The hollow panic of a man whose life had been built on control. Nia's voice was steady, low, a rehearsed tide. We didn't come for a scene. Zuri asked to meet her father. They were led, because spectacle demands it, to a conference room that overlooked the city Ethan had conquered. The skyline looked like a trophy shelf. He sat like a man taking inventory of damage. How old? His voice was brittle. 10. She'll be 11 in March. Nia watched him grapple with years he'd spent pretending away. She'd remembered him as the graduate student who loved her over instant noodles, the man who promised forever between broken heaters and small apartments. Then he'd vanished when the world asked for something harder than words. A woman swept in like a card from another life, Vivian Hart, Ethan's fiancée. Chanel on display, teeth bared in a practiced smile. The color drained from her face when she saw Zuri. Who are they? She demanded. Ethan, what is this? Ethan could only manage a gaze that sought escape. Before anyone could answer, two figures floated in. Ethan's parents, the kind of old money that never learned how to hide disgust. Mrs. Caldwell's eyes fixed on Nia like she'd brought a stain. Take care of it. Mrs. Caldwell hissed in a voice that had bought more apologies than marriages. Whatever it costs, make it disappear. Zuri's small hand tightened in her mother's. She stepped forward with the bluntness of children who have never been taught hypocrisy. She's talking about us like we're trash, the girl said, every word clear enough to turn conversations into evidence. Nia caught the room's breath and didn't flinch. She'd learned the language of power, not for revenge, but for truth. You wired money, Mrs. Caldwell reminded her son, voice thin with entitlement. We handled it. Nia pulled out a phone and a quiet storm of receipts, school photos, bank statements, birthday videos, 11 years of living not vanishing. Every penny was for prenatal care, the delivery, setting up a home when you walked away. I never begged. I raised my daughter. Ethan's world, built of polished floors and pressed lines, found no foothold in the face of proof. The resemblance between father and daughter was a private geometry made public. The same jaw, the same stubborn eyes. DNA tests exist, Mrs. Caldwell said, equal parts threat and courtroom. Nia smiled, a small, weathered thing. Test us, but know why we're here. Zuri asked to meet her father. She deserves to know him. Vivian's engagement ring left the table with a soft, deliberate click. If this is true, she said through a tight smile, you just ruined everything. She walked out in designer heels, leaving a sound like an accusation. Ethan watched her go, the bargain he'd made for a tidy life unspooling at the edges. He looked at Zuri, then at Nia. The words, I'm sorry, trapped in a throat that had grown used to swallowing blame. Nia took Zuri's hand and stepped back toward the elevator. She wasn't there for a confession or for money. She was there because a child had asked a question that couldn't be answered with silence. Outside, cameras clicked. Inside, old power tasted suddenly powerless. Before they left, Zuri looked up at the man who could no longer pretend. Do you want to meet me? She asked, as if offering a small, radical mercy. Ethan's answer came softer than anyone expected. Yes, it wasn't a neat ending. It was a crossroads, a daughter given a name, a woman who had survived on dignity, and a billionaire whose life would now be rewritten in ways no PR team could control. If you're hooked and want more cinematic stories that dig beneath the surface, Hit subscribe, smash like, and tell us in the comments. Would you forgive a secret kept for a decade? Your opinion shapes the next episode, so speak up. Melanin Chronicles tells stories where truth insists on being seen. Nia walked in to be seen, and the world finally had to look. What happens after the test? Will forgiveness come, or will the past demand its price? Tell us your take, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to keep the story alive.